Hello and welcome to Spinster's Library. I'm Claudia, and this video is a response to a reader question that was sent into the Guardian's book clinic recently. I will link the article in the description box, and I suggest you go and read it before you hear my rant about this. And the question is, many millennials never read anything longer than a tweet or Instagram caption. How do we revive the discipline and patience for great long reads like Tolstoy's War and Peace? Asked by Halima, 32 from Leeds, who is by definition a millennial. Where do I even start? Luckily, I made some notes so it wouldn't just be me screaming at the camera right now. The assumption that millennials, which include me, which include Halima who asked the question, which include probably a lot of you watching, the assumption that we just spontaneously fall asleep after the first 140 characters of any given classic is ridiculous. I feel like our generation reads at least as much as the previous generation. Even if we take the ridiculous assumption that all we read is online. I read a lot of articles online, and I'm sure my mum does not read as much in the newspapers as I read in The Guardian Online and other online news outlets and magazines that I get in my Twitter feed. Even books. I don't feel like I'm reading less than my parents did. I don't feel like my friends are reading less than the previous generation. I think the assumption that millennials are these brainless, social media addicted zombies is ridiculous, and classics are not dead with us. I love my classics, and I don't feel that's got anything to do with age. I have not done enough research for this video to look into studies, so if you know of any, please let me know and please link them down below. I'd be very interested in it. But my guess is that we read as many classics as people have always done. I am so fed up with people putting down millennials as these idiots, especially people from our own generation. This is a message for Halima, 32 from Leeds, as well as every other person in our age bracket that says stuff like, millennials don't read anymore, nothing longer than an Instagram caption. Putting down your own generation like that does not make you look intelligent. Please stop. That's a rant out of the way. So here is my actual genuine advice for people who feel like they can't get through classics. By the way, the columnist in The Guardian gave some pretty crappy advice too. So they just recommended that you chop up a classic into 50-page chunks, or that you have a discipline of reading a classic for 15 minutes a day. Now, I don't think that's the way to approach it, because it reinforces that stereotype of a classic being this higher being, you know, like a god among books, which it's not. A classic is just another book. It's just very, very old. So here are my tips for getting into classics if you're having difficulties. And this, by the way, is not just for millennials. So my first piece of advice would be to find a genre that you like as a contemporary book and then try that out as a classic. So for example, if you're really into crime fiction, maybe try Sherlock Holmes or an Agatha Christie or something that's in the same genre but older. If you like your kind of family dramas, then maybe try out a Jane Austen. Or if you're into kind of children's books, there's so many beautiful children's classics to choose from. So think about what you like in a modern book and then try and find a classic that has those same features. My second tip would be to find a film or TV adaptation of a classic you're interested in and then watch that first. I know it seems like it's the wrong way around to watch an adaptation before reading the book, but when it comes to classics, it really does help getting through the story, because sometimes they're told in a slightly archaic and convoluted way. So if you see the film or the TV adaptation, then you will already know the plot, and it'll make it easier to get through the book and understand what's actually in it. Another piece of advice would be to check out free ebooks, because a lot of classics that are out of copyright you can get completely for free with your Amazon account. You don't even have to have a Kindle e-reader or any other type of e-reader. There's lots of places online where you can just find free classics. So my tip would be to look at some of those, read the first chapter or even the first few pages in each of those, and then see if you like the style. And if you think that you could get through that book, then pick up the book. And finally, my last tip would be to buddy read or to find a book club or a group that reads the same book, because talking about it makes you read more attentively just because you want to have something to say about that book. It's really fun to talk about them and it makes reading them a lot easier. So this is my rant/advice video, and I hope I've not been talking too quickly for you, because this article really got my blood boiling. I hate seeing young people put down as brainless idiots, and especially millennials. People seem to think that millennials are children. Guys, we are adults. We're grown-up professionals making money, buying books, reading books. People need to get over this millennial issue. And just before I go, I want to say, if you don't like classics, if you don't read them, if you just can't get on with them, that's also fine. It does not mean that you have the attention span of a tweet. It just means that you don't enjoy classics, and that's perfectly okay. So don't let Halima or anyone else put you down. Thank you for watching. Bye.